Unpopular opinion, why I think parents who are shelling out thousands of dollars to put their kids through tutoring and coaching to get into selective schools are a total waste of time. To quote one of the parents in this article, he says, more important than winning the lottery. He's implying that if his kids get into selective school, it's more important than winning the lottery. You serious? Now, before I lay out my argument, here's the facts. Parents are spending thousands of dollars on specialized tutoring for their children. It also says 17,000 approximate applications have been applied for, and there's only about 2,000 roughly selective schools. What? And some of these tutoring companies that these parents are sending their kids to, they're being sold the possibility of a selective school, and that might not be true. Now, let me just break down why I think this is dumb. In terms of not parents being dumb, but this whole concept of trying to get your kids into a selective school so that they can be successful. Again, this is based on my personal experience and my personal opinion, so not to offend anyone. Look, I have been a broker for over 15 years. I've seen about thousands of applicants, PAYG, self-employed, to CEOs, to bathroom cleaners. I also have a lot of friends in different sectors of the industry. Some are successful, some are not. And I have friends that are in my primary school, and I also know friends that are in selective schools. So to give you an example, I have a mate that went to Sefton Selective School. The way he did this was that he was in a normal primary school, like public school, during high school. And then to go into the selective school, he went through this loophole where after completing year 10, he can apply for year 11 and 12 at the Sefton Selective School by not doing a test at all. So there was no test, just did an interview with the principal, and then he got in. And what he told me was that everyone in this school was smart. Well, I will say book smart. And he himself, like myself, is street smart. And he's pretty bad with his academics. But what he noticed was that when he entered this school, his usual average marks, for example, 70% for every test, got basically pulled up by all these higher smart people or academically smart people. So for his HSC, or back then UAI, he got like 95 points. But in all honesty, if he did this test in the bloody public school, he would have got maybe like 80. So his marks just rose with the standard deviation because it was higher there. My point is, these type of parents are trying to chuck their kids into selective schools because they have a higher academic standard deviation so they can pull up their kids' marks. The keyword is, it's all about the marks, the academic marks. I can tell you right now, all those smart academic people, or those that came first in maths, English, whatever, I can tell you right now, I'm earning 3 times more than them right now. And I'm not trying to say this is how big my eggplant is. I'm not trying to be cocky. What I'm saying is, when you stick to the normal standard deviation of a non-selective school, for example, a public school or a Catholic school, you are forced into the real world with what you actually have, and then you have to use your own street smart to win in life. But then if you hide in these schools and then somehow your marks get lifted because someone else is smarter and the standard deviation is higher, you go into the real world with a false pretense of how smart you really are. And then you get higher marks, and then you get a job because of the higher marks, or because you supposedly came from a selective school. You start putting your confidence on these pieces of paper, which they call academic pieces of paper, to show your self-worth. And then you neglect all the street smart skills that you should have learned if you have gotten knocked around in life. And you must be scratching your head right now and asking, what do you mean, Q? Okay, this is what I mean. I finish high school, I go apply for a job, and I give them my CV, and then they look at it. You come from a non-selective school. I don't recognize this school, and this uni is pretty crap because you went to a shitty school. I'm sorry, you get the shitty job. Because I have no choice, I do the shitty job, and I work from the bottom and try to work up. And then I gotta scratch my head. How do I improve my personal skills, my street smart skills, to rise above the ladder, the bloody corporate ladder? I worked on my sales skills. I did door knocking. I did cutthroat retail. Did every admin job, call center job. When I was in my 20s, I did 2-3 jobs. And while that, I was at Toastmasters, which is a communication program, for like 5 to 7 years to improve my public speaking and my communication skills. And I got so sick of the PAYG politics in these corporate companies, I started my own bloody business. 15 years of working 100 hours a week, and now I'm here today. My point is, you guys trying to chuck your kids into these selective schools, you basically lift up their ego, their expectation that they can sort of operate through the world because they have these academic scores. But if your kids are smart, well, put them to selective school. They are naturally talented. But if your kids are dumb, or just like street smart like me, don't try to put like a circle in a square peg. No amount of African tutoring or coaching to squeeze, what did King Lear say to blah, 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 would get your kids smarter in life or ahead in life. That is why I'm not going to get my kids doing any tutoring. I'm not going to chuck them to selective schools. If they are naturally talented, we'll go there. But if they're not, doesn't matter. When they're 12 years old or 13 years old, I'll get them an ABN, start a business, run it to the ground, learn from what you made in terms of mistakes, and do it again and again and again. By 18, they're bloody super entrepreneurs. If you made it this far, jump in the comments, let me know what you feel and what you think of what I'm trying to say. I'm not trying to stir you. Either roast me or toast me. I love to read your comments.